Hello, this is Greg Allison from Green Greg's Garden and Worm Farm and Galactic Greg's, coming to you from my Universal Habitat as rendered and built out by Mike Lorrey. This is the concept for my Universal Habitat. He fleshed it out in a sim known as Kitely, and this is inside. Check it out, guys. Isn't this beautiful? Now, it just so happens I call it Universal Habitat because it'll work anywhere on Earth or on Mars. Welcome to Mars, my friends. Did you know that Green Greg's, of course, with Galactic Greg's, would take you to Mars? Well, here we are. And this is a beautiful rendition. This is a multi-layer version. I will show you around this. I will show you my original concept as I had fleshed it out in PowerPoint. But this is a beautiful rendition of it, and it's still in works. But now, this is all below ground, essentially. This entry tunnel here is actually at ground level, as you can see outside. And so that colored thing below is a screen, projection screen, as you'll see in a moment. And you can look above, and there are solar rays above that actually are mirrors and photovoltaic cells for reflecting light from the sun, because this is deemed to be a high altitude, or not high altitude, a high latitude habitat. So at a high latitude, it would be essentially needing to catch some extra sunlight. Also at Mars, sunlight is much less dense than it is at Earth. So you need a little bit more sunlight. So this gathers sunlight and makes electrical power, both in this concept. So go back down here again. So this is my avatar. The back side is typically the way you sit, first person. If you're looking at me, you'll see it differently. And if you want to see what I look like in here with this avatar, the best way to see that is for me to walk off and turn around. Now, as you can see, I definitely have blonde hair, longer than this guy. That's me with a haircut. And I have a white beard. So here we go. Turn around. There you go. How's that? There you go. That kind of looks like me. Just a little like a body-wise, maybe a younger version of my skinnier days. But in any event, so oops, I'm outside the window there. Yeah, this does give you some capacity to travel around. Fortunately, I can walk around. So let's go tour this habitat. Now the stairwells have still to be built here. Oops, my view is outside right now, unfortunately. Bam. Okay, there'll be some spiral staircases added to this. Here we're growing pineapples. So as I said, this was built out by Mike Lorrey, and he had the assistance of Rosa. Hope I don't murder her name. She is a Brazilian, but the name kind of looks a bit Russian to me. Alekseev, Alekeev, and Mike is Michael, Lorrey. He is the guy who built this out in the sim. And look, we got pineapples here. And you can see this is a multi-layer system, kind of like mine, with different rooms in here. Check it out. And this is all to be built out with Martian regolith. And here's your elevator shaft room in there. I won't go in there right now, but essentially, I think I'm flying here. What's happening? No, I'm walking. Yeah, it's easy to get turned around in this thing. So there we go. We'll go down the next level. Now he has a water catchment system that runs around the top above us here. For catching the condensate inside. And you can see we got a green growing wall here. The entire wall there is a growth area, which definitely is intended and would increase quite a bit what you could grow in here. All right, let's take a leap. Yeah, boing. Another level with the rooms. So this is the second level of rooms. And typically I would have a growing area here also. I would maximize growing as much as I could. Yeah, those numbers again. That's the back of a screen for our performance. We are going to have a live session here, a live session that will start at 2 p.m. Pacific time on Yuri's day, Yuri's night, and that will be the 12th, Sunday. So that will be 4 p.m. Central time, and it will be 5 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, that makes it 3 Mountain time, right? So there's the stage, and here's another level with plenty of rooms back here. This is living quarters. Excuse me. No, it's not COVID. And you can see a lot of things growing on here. You can see tomatoes up there. Got a little wheat. Everything's not planted out yet. I'm going to walk around here. And we have a pond, a pool here for our aquaponics. He's got salmon in there. Oh, by the way, notice the screen? Galactic Gregs. Yeah, that's my YouTube site for Galactic Gregs. You'll see my air turbo rockets, talking about Axiom Space. Over here, the F1 rocket, Saturn V launch anniversary. A lot of things here. COVID-19 impacts the aerospace world. Now, YouTube will demonetize this just because I mentioned that. Oh my gosh, probably hope not, because this video is definitely not about that at all. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here, right? Now, another set of rooms all back in here. It can be living quarters, workshops, areas to grow things. You can make this all kind of multi-purpose facilities. Actually, the slower level would be the best place to live at. You might have office space and growing areas above. This is a stage where we'll have DJs and singing to go over their Yuri's 9th anniversary. And this is kind of cool because I have the Superman ability to fly. Watch this. So we can get a bird's eye view. Look, Elon Musk Starship, earlier version outside. Yeah, Mike was kind of admitting that he still had the earlier version of the system. I said, don't worry about updating it yet. Elon's going to probably change it again. He's having some difficulties with his latest version, as you all know. So, go up a little bit. Now we'll just land down here in the garden. This is kind of neat because I can do a lot of things here, such as I can just teleport right back down to the garden area. You did not know green Gregs can teleport, right? Or fly. So here we are. So the whole idea behind this is to have a habitat that you can live out of and make a living out of, grow all your food out of. The living quarters area, you could put your own little workshops in there. You could have server farm if you want to run an internet thing. You could have 3D printers, lathes. You could grow other food in elevated racks like I do microgreens in my living room. You could grow with racks and lights, anything you want. Lots of food, even inside the enclosed space. Or you could have various industrial type facilities in there to build stuff that you're going to need wherever you're at. So for trade, if you get it for your personal space, you could grow mushrooms, worms, rabbits, chickens. You could put a barn there, automotive workshop on earth if you wanted, or various things. So there's a lot of flexibility as what you could do in that living space. And I'll go into that more in a little bit. Now this habitat is rendered here is 30 meters in diameter. Now my concept is based on a cross between an earthship, a wallapini, and the in scale, basically the way I draw it out to what the Gervais family does in Pasadena, California. Because in Pasadena, California, the Gervais family grows 6,000 to 7,000 pounds of food on 1/10 of an acre in their backyard, just using plain raised bed gardening with some trellising and having things run vertical. This definitely has have more growing space on this wall here than what I typically count when I look at the vertical space below. Now, so a cylindrical habitat scale for 4 people, like the DeVase family, using a diameter, using a 1/10 of an acre, if you solve for pi to get the radius, would be a much smaller facility than this. So this facility is actually 30 meters in diameter. 30 meters in diameter. The radius of the facility that would be 1/3 of an acre for your DeVase family on a circle would be about 37 feet. So you would want the whole thing at about 75 foot or something like that diameter. So this is much larger. And my habitable area, the way I would normally had laid it out, was that the buildings inside would take half the diameter up inside. But he's got an extra level in here, so it does the same thing. And he can do that because on Mars you don't have a whole lot of groundwater. So it gives you a lot more flexibility. This habitat, as he's got it scaled out here, has extra room in it, enough that it should support, just on vertical space alone, something in the order of 5.6 people. Now but he's growing a lot of vertical. You could have aquaponics tubes suspended overhead, and you could grow inside the living area. So you could actually have a lot more growth area inside this habitat to grow different things right in here in these rooms. So you could easily accommodate 7, 9 people, maybe more. You could also have ancillary facilities that have algae growing outside, or wheat perhaps, or quinoa. How do we pronounce that? Yeah, that's like QA or something, I forget. But anyway, that stuff is developed in Andes, and it's pretty radiation resistant. So it might be that you would grow crops like that on Mars and get your grain. So you might not grow those in here. You might reserve this for your fresh vegetable area. So, oh yeah, by the way, they're DeVase family. I've got 2 videos on Green Graves channel and talking about them and how they grow enough food originally to accommodate 4 adults. Their father recently passed away, and they actually sell the excess from that 1/10 of an acre and make a living off of it, supporting presently 3 adults, originally 4. Now they're a little meager, but they're happy. They have everything they need. The thing about this universal habitat is you can build them out of the ground below you. Basically, the resources there build up. It can be totally above ground if you need be, if the water level is too low, if you can't drain it out well enough, or you can make it entirely below ground, as this one is, essentially. Now, the only difference with this one and what will probably be added later is overhead, I actually would put some radiation shielding in the form of water tanks. And those water tanks would probably just be jars that I would hang up, maybe the size of barrels. 55-gallon barrels, a little bit, but you'd probably want about 6 foot of water hanging overhead. The reason I'd put them in jars, I could hang them from these nodes in the structure here, is that you need to have a good depth of radiation shielding. The water would still be largely transparent, so you still get a lot of light below. You may have to augment that in some fashion. It's just that you want to cut the radiation out as much as possible. Now, you might deem that for personnel safety, the plants don't need it as much. For personnel safety, you could always go and stay a lot of time in the shielded areas and the habitat area down here below where the rooms are. So what you could do again is look around here. If you had all that suspended above, the reason I'm thinking jars is, again, you suspend them from those nodes. The roof as a dome will have a tremendous pressure on it from the air pressure inside at 14.7 psi. So it actually needs something to hold it down. So having that water, which only has 1/3 of the weight on Earth, that's why a jar the size of a 55-gallon barrel is not nonsensical, is it's quite doable here on Mars to have jars that size. Just make them from silicon and the soil outside, put them in the water that you collect from Martian regolith itself, and suspend them. That roof needs something to hold it down because it's going to have enormous pressure to make it lift off. So it's not holding things out, it's holding things in. So it's, of course, it's a geodesic dome that's the most efficient structure for doing that, but it's also a very efficient structure for holding things suspended from it. Or if you don't want to, so you can hang these jars at different levels, which also aid the light coming in, and keep them from bumping into each other should there be a Mars quake. Or you could build a grid across here, a walkway of sorts that's like the bridges way up north in the Arctic, where you have a metallic grid structure that you can still see through, but it won't allow the ice to accumulate to bend in the Arctic regions on bridges. Yeah, I know I lived in Alaska, so and you could just set the bottles on top of that, and light would still go through. In fact, I've got that grid structure idea in my PowerPoint version of this, which I'll show you in a little bit. So let's go back down to the ground. Boom, there we are. And we'll go outside in a minute. I'll show you around this place just a second, and I'll show you my PowerPoint version of this. It's this beautiful. We're going to have an open of this with singing and quite a bit of a celebration for Yuri's day. Yuri's night, but it's going to say day because we're starting early, at least in America here. So let's do that. Let's, I am going to put on a spacesuit. Pardon me while I find this. Give me a second. Here we go. Give me just a second. And boom, here we go. How about that? All right, it's taking a little time to flesh out here. There we are. Sorry for getting dressed in front of you, but to give you an idea, you saw me a moment ago in my, walking around. So now if you want to see what I look like this way, here we go. There I am. Santa knot. And let's see. And again, we have the unique ability to fly. So let's go on a little flight here. Wait a minute. Walk mode. Here we go. We'll take a little trip outside. A second. Spaceship One landing, Starship landing pad, not Spaceship One. That's about routines. That's prize winner. Which that's some involvement with, by the way. There we are. There's a Starship. Something else hanging in the air right now, so I don't want to run into that. And there we are. This is one of our gathering areas. Looks like Mars is a little bit terraformed here. And basically, when you see something in this sim that's colored, that means it's still working on it. The computer has to build things up as you move along sometimes, the way the simulation runs. So it's kind of cool, right? I love the atmosphere. All right, let me do this. Let me go down a bit. There we go. Up just a tad. There, beautiful. Center that. There we are. That is Universal Habitat. There are other locations here in the sim world. I'm going to take you to them later. That we have a I'll show you another here. We got a placard here. I'll show you. International Spaceflight Museum, and there is quite a museum and another location here in Kitely. It's part of this International Spaceflight Museum. All right. Well, now I could land and walk into this, but of course the easiest way is just to teleport in. Anyway, so you enjoyed that. Now let me do this. What I'm going to do now is go show you my PowerPoint. Hello. I'll do another share. Go to PowerPoint. Boom. And let's blow this up a little bit. Here is the universal habitat concept. As I had originally drawn it out, and this is what Mike saw as his inspiration to build from. Now, this version here is scaled as a hexagonal system here. And what you can see is this is the garden area. I'm growing on the wall below. I've got aquaponics fish tank. The fish tank pond don't really need to be that large. This is also a low sun angle, kind of Mike rendered. This ground level is variable according to how much water you got around. I mean, if you can bear the whole thing under, or you can have the whole thing above ground. It's partly your desire. As much, you get more protection thermally underground and from radiation, and it's got a lot of advantages for heating and cooling if you can go somewhat underground. The more the better. But you might want to have partially above ground up here so you can see out windows and such. So there's and then you may want a garage access, a way to get down here, because this might be your garage. So by the way, this entire area, if you look at a cross section from above, would be 1/10 of an acre, or 43,000. Excuse me, 1/10 of an acre is 4,356 square feet. And this is the living area, which is intended to be half. Looking down from the top, each level here is half of that. So each level here is 2,178 square feet of living area for, maybe 4 adults. But if you include your garage, workshop, and whatever you got down here, it's really, again, 1/10 of an acre right here, 4,356 feet. So you got right here 1/10 of an acre, a half of 1/10 of an acre, that is, again, the 21,078 feet. But I got us growing on the top, a little bit in here, and out here, and on the walls. So you're really growing about 15% of an acre instead of 1/10 of an acre, or better, as I've got it laid out here. I've got, since your living quarters are over here, I've got your solar panel right here. The solar panel, this one would be for hot water heating, because you would have your hot water heater, your kitchen, your bathrooms, and all this stuff over here, so it gets it closest. I've got electrical power solar photovoltaics on the inside here. You could have them outside somewhere, and you could, grow stuff here if you can reach it. But this is stuff you could reach by, hand or ladder, and this is aquaponics in cubes come above, overhead. So you'd be able to walk around in here. I mean, this is every square is a foot in this diagram. So you've got, about, 10 foot here of clearance to walk around in. And I've drawn these walls as a foot thick, but for radiation, really for good thermal mass, you probably want them 18 inches at least, or 2 foot, which I'll show in another rendition a little bit for the space version. So this is a living area. This is a living dining room, but what I have here is a glass ceiling over parts of it where there's a walkway. And again, that would be the grate I was talking about previously. So you could come up here and tend your garden on your roof, and then you could walk out onto the walkway. You grow on the roof, and you would have raised beds here. So where you have the raised beds, you would have it would be opaque, but where your walkways are, it would shine light through, and so that light could come through there also in your living room and below for a low sun angle. Now you could actually make this entire thing a glass top or a grate ceiling, and have tubes here with aquaponics like we have here, and just have growing here. So that's many ways to do it. It would let more light through. And this is intended to be glass. This is intended to be glass. This is all inside. This is your home. So no one's looking out in from the outside. Unless you want it that way and you want to put glass over here. Some people like glass all the way around. You could do that if you so desire, and curtain it or whatever you want to do. This is a greenhouse roof. It's optional in how you would build this. I'm just showing kind of a pyramidal regular roof looking structure, but this is intended to be a hexagon, so it actually would be more of a pyramidal shape. I'm showing a vent fan here. I can also have a rectangular layout for this. You can put a dome up here or not have it at all. Depends on your climate and what you want to do. You could open and close this, vent it as necessary. You could even do like a hoop house, like I have for my greenhouse. So it's totally optional as to what you do here and how you do it. I do show rainwater collection off this roof. Also, you can collect condensate from the inside of it in the internal channel, which Mike Lorrey also accommodated condensate collection in the design he laid out. So it's really neat. Now he has an extra level, but he's also not showing it occupying a tenth of this. But he also goes deeper. And that's all fine. But he's also got extra solar arrays outside that move around in a circle. This is a smaller facility than he depicted. So if you look here, you can see I've also got some rabbits and mushroom mods here. You can put all that kind of stuff in here. Again, you can grow aquaponics in here. It's a garage, workshop, indoor grow area, store, or factory. Whatever you're gonna do, you put a loom in here. You could put you could put spinning equipment. You could do a lathe, 3D printer, whatever kind of workshop you want. You could have a bar, whatever you want to put in there. That's an area to, you could put your home office in here, man cave, woman cave. I mean, you got over 2,000 square foot, 2,178 square foot in here. That's plenty to do a lot with. You could have a garage in here and other things. I mean, garage don't take up any space per se. So there's a lot of room in here, or you could have your living area in here and your work area up here. And then Mars or the moon, that would be preferable, right? So let me take you through real fast. This again is a cross section of hexagonal area, or sexagonal, however you say it, through the 6 sides. So this shows the half. That's your living room. You got a bathroom, a master bathroom, master bedroom, a kitchen, dining area, and 2 bedrooms. Now for Mars, this is my original concept for Mars. I'm showing everything 2 foot thick here. I'm showing a thick layer of water above. Again, that was just notional. That's a different way to do that geometry. This is a rectangular geometry. Again, taking half of it on the sun side, so that the shadow would be normally cast here. So you occupy that living area, and you got your growing area down here. Of course, you can use your reflectors if you want to get sunlight deeper into. Look, I got a bedroom here. I got a bedroom here, a bathroom, a master bathroom, a study, a washroom, closet area, walk-in closet, excuse me, this master bedroom, this master bed, master bath, living area. And you can change it any way you want, but that's just one level. If you put these, you can put these together honeycomb style and pack them in. This whole thing could be occupied in whatever size you want. Or you could take and have an open courtyard between them, and you could divide it up different ways for the inhabitants to share another open courtyard area. And so this is where I was playing around with the idea of putting these on barges, basically, or floating platforms. And I was looking at floating them on the hulls of cargo ships. And I say it's pretty normal for cargo container ships to be 1,200 square foot. So I thought, how much room would I get on here? Well, it's about 33 acres, so I could put 330 homes on something like this and float it out in the ocean. Also, you can build platforms in the ocean, floatable platforms from concrete that you could accrete onto wires running electricity, because if you run electric current through wires in the ocean, the carbon and the calcium carbonate in the ocean will accrete on the wires and form a concrete, kind of like a shell on a fish, right? But you can build platforms that way on the ocean. So we can colonize the ocean. I mean, literally a universal habitat. That's the whole idea here. But the cool thing for this, we're, oh, great, it's overpopulated. We have so many people on Earth. The beauty of this whole concept is that it decreases your footprint. I mean, you're basically building right on where you're at with what you have. and a little extra stuff. Like if you're building the walls, you may want sandbags to put them in, or you may you reuse old tires like they do on Earth ships, and to build your walls with. Or you could use other things, especially if you're on Mars. Mike was looking at the idea of building with graphene, and that's an excellent idea. So, and he's looking at some ideas that would help us produce that in mass quantity. You could, there's many ways you can make glass on Mars, fiberglass, and you can make fiberglass sandbags. Now, the cool thing is, if you're only 1/10 of an acre for 4 people, and you're producing all the food you need, everything you need to grow, for the most part, you might have, you'd still have farms elsewhere, but for grain products and things like beef and so forth, even though Bill Gates wants to have factory beef. I wouldn't eat that stuff. I don't eat that burger that they got at Burger King, whatever they call that. I'm not having that. Anyway, that's me. But so yeah, I don't want to eat Bill Gates food. It just doesn't sound appealing to me. So, but here's the thing: on 1/10 of an acre for 4 people, how much of the world would it take to accommodate the top projected population by the United Nations for the end of the century? They think the population will peak at the end of the century and then decline, just as it has done in the Western world. They think that we'll do that in the whole world, and more population will start into a decline mode. This is one way to minimize the impact on the environment. But I would never advocate putting all the people in place. But if you put them all in place, think about how much room do you think it would take? People think we're so crowded, we'll take up the whole earth. Well, it would be an area equivalent to, and here's where I did the math, the size of Texas and New Mexico, or half of Alaska. Here's where I did the math on that. So half of Alaska would get you there. But we got the oceans and all the other kind of places we could live in. There's a lot of advantages to ocean living that I can go into the future. I'm not going to do that right now. But suffice it to say, we could grow a lot of food. We can have a lot of fresh water on this planet. The things they tell us are our limitations are not. The limitations are our imagination. This is where I was working out the math for the different wall lengths according to what the diameter is. Diameter was L. No, the length I was solving for here to this point was L. That's A. So I've got different equations here showing how to size it. This is where I could build my own. This is my hole in the back of my property that I affectionately call Woodhenge. Now these photographs are a little stretched out to fit the thing here. I was planning to build this on the concept of Mike Lorrey, but I've changed my mind since then. Now these are actually thicker. I stretched these vertically just to make it fit in the PowerPoint presentation nicely. This is a hole over here. I was intended for root cellar. The guy who dug this out, who dug out my drain channel, didn't do it right. So there's still some water, so I got a backfill in here. But I've got a site to build a prototype. That's what I'm telling you. So I'm looking at doing this is what those logs actually like standing up, scaled properly. And I really believe we should have a lot of greenery inside. This is depictions from Earthship homes. And yeah, a lot of greenery, lots and lots of greenery in the universal habitat, because it's good for human psychology, especially if you're in space. Greenery, stained glass, and if you have the glass jars hanging overhead on Mars habitat, you could maybe have some colored. On the Earthships, they use tubes that go through the earth to pull air in, and they heat it inside the greenhouse portion and vent it out the top. We would have to circulate the air somewhat in the Martian habitat, but we could use the soil and the sunlit areas to vary that as the ports go in. And look, on Earthships, you use a lot of trash to build them with, like discarded bottles. But if you do so, you can make it very artistic and beautiful. I believe art needs to be a key characteristic of what we're doing. Every one of these homes should be so beautiful that people would go, ooh, ah, that they would love it. They can be individualized craft. Look here what you can do with Adobe. You can do a lot of things. That's what I'm showing you. There's a lot of versatility as to how you can build these. They don't have to look drab, and they can be very beautiful. Now, I am an engineer, not an artist. I have done some drawing. My son is an artist. He makes a living doing tattoos, and he's very good at it. It's not cheap looking stuff. He did very excellent art. All my kids are into the arts. I write poetry. for my artistic outlet. And I have done some drawing, but I really would like to find an artist that would draw these out, complete with a lot of greenery, make them beautiful, just in pictures and drawings. Mike has done that in the sim world. He's done an excellent job, and it's still a work in progress. So it will grow and prosper. We'll see more come out of that. I am so thrilled that he has done, and I really want to thank him, Katherine Prawl, who brought me into this, introduced them to me, and Rosa, who has been very helpful in holding my hand and getting me involved in using that sim. So there you have it, my universal habitat. And of course, I do want to start Red Planet Redworms. And yeah, so there you go. That's kind of the combination of galactic Gregs and green Gregs, all joined together with the universal habitat that will work anywhere on Earth or in space. Moon, Mars, the Arctic, on Earth. So there you have it, my friends. A habitat that you can live in anywhere on Earth, in space, that you can make a living out of, grow your food in. This habitat is essentially, for the most part, tornado proof. Yeah, you might get your roof damaged and a few things around here, but for the most part, hurricane proof, wind wise, not wave. This is not a submarine habitat. Now, you have a proper roof and, cylindrical walls, yeah, maybe. If you're worried about Chan Thomas, you might can make this thing very pressure resistant from the outside. So those of you that know what I'm talking about, I want to go into this idea of a ginormous tsunami hitting Earth, but I'm not too worried about that personally, unless you're living on the West Coast, maybe. Guys on the West Coast, you might have some problems one day, but that's another story. So there we have it. I'll stop the share on that. The universal habitat. Oh, this is the Greg Austin Space Flight Center since I'm working from home. So I will take us back for a moment into the back to Mars. There we are, my friends. We're back on Mars. I'm not floating, flying, or yeah, let's stop flying. And I'm going to put back on my normal suit. Hang on, give me a minute. All right, pardon me while I change clothes. Okay, yeah, I'm invisible in part. It'll take a second. Look, there we are. And let's see. And there we are. Back home. My universal habitat. Great place to be. Yeah, I got my beard and my hair cut a little bit. I lost a little weight. Don't you love it? It's wonderful. So with that, I think it's time to end the show. Do check my links below to support my channels on Green Gregs, and we'll soon be on Galactic Gregs too. And it is time to buzz out of here and go bye-bye, right? Let's see, I got a little trick here if I can click it. Oh well, maybe it ain't happening right now. That I'm out of Mars. Back on Earth. How was that for teleporting home? Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Like I said, do check the links below to support my channel. My channels. I have 2 channels, and this is a joint video of the 2 channels, Galactic Gregs and Green Gregs. On the Mars habitat there, I am Green Greg, but you saw on the screen my Galactic Gregs channel. So, guys, there can be hope for the future. Mars is the ultimate bug out. So you really want to bug out? That's bugging way out. I do believe ultimately for survival, it's important that we not have all our eggs in one basket. Earth being one basket. So let's spread it out. That's the ultimate bug out. The ultimate survival is to have many eggs. I really am a big fan of asteroid development, asteroid settlement, putting these things in free space on platforms that rotate. Yeah, you can build habitats just like this or similar based on these kind of philosophies. And they give you radiation shielding. It will give you a lot of what you need. And you could have a cycler ship even going between Earth and Mars. And that's something that Mike is looking to accommodate and putting spaceships on them. The Elon Musk size, of course, if you're flying on the cycling ship, they're not going to need all that fuel. They could use the fuel tanks to transport other cargo. Or not have two to refuel. They could have maybe just launch one and go straight. Or something, some combination. Or maybe they can launch two spaceships and have one cargo tanker fueling them partially. Or you can have nuclear propulsion as the ultimate upper stage to move these things back and forth and give you extra flexibility to the architecture that Elon Musk is trying to develop. I do believe that that architecture could be stretched and developed further. I am a big fan of using those kind of assets to develop asteroids, which is the Jeff Bezos vision. I think for space, Jeff Bezos has a really good vision. However, boy, he's really trying to take over the earth to do it, and I'm not a fan of that. I am a big fan of decentralization, of localization. I'm not a big fan of globalization at all. In fact, I think we need to dial that down considerably. We need a more resilient society. What we have today is not resilient, and we can see that with what's going on at the moment. The answer is not more of that, it is less. These habitats give you enormous localization because you produce almost everything you need right there. You're not dependent on anything else. You're not going to need, if you're mostly working from your home, you're going to greatly reduce the transportation requirements on the national infrastructure, international infrastructure, because you're just not going to need to travel that much. You can have almost everything you need in your local community, your local tribe. I'm a big fan of local groups, tribes, a smaller governance, having the things you need close at hand where the people are. I think that is what we need. I've got the overhead light turned off so my head don't look washed out and white. I just put on my hat. And turn on this other light, which you normally see. Bam. So there we are. My friends, there can be a big hope for our future, but a lot of it starts with us. We got to get through these things that are coming at us. And if we can get through that and shake that dust off, the future is our oyster. We can do a lot of amazing things, but we just got to get through the challenges that's upon us now. Our biggest challenge, though, is how we get along with each other. I have done other videos where I talk about that. I've done videos talking about a nuke in every pot, which I talk about the proliferation of technology and how it will wipe us out if we don't come to better terms with getting along with each other throughout all human civilization. We have to get along. That is a key to survival. If you want to understand that, go see my video on green Gregs, a nuke in every pot. Also, on green Gregs, I talk about the fragility of civilization. I use the story I pencil, talking about a story from the 1950s when I took cast of many thousands to make a single number 2 pencil. That was when our society was far less complex than it is today. You need to see that video to understand how fragile our civilization is. We need a more resilient civilization. These habitats are resilient, they're robust. If you have to build them with labor, like pounding dirt into tires like airships, that's very labor intensive, and the primary cost for your habitat then will be labor. The materials are cheap, very cheap for the materials. You can make a building with whatever you're standing on, you can build your own, be it rock, sand, clay, the soil, the dirt, the rock under your feet, or your primary building material for that type of habitat. Yeah, you've got to do some things to control water, but there's techniques for all that. So this can be a beautiful thing. As I see it, it should be once you see these type habitats, you should go, ooh and ah, this should be beautiful. But when you realize you can grow your food, you don't need outside energy input. You can have all your thermal balance from all the thermal mass in there, and just how you channel your air can keep your home comfortable year-round, almost anywhere, with very little additional energy inputs. You can heat your water. You can make your electric power. You will require far less electric power. You won't need all the infrastructure that we have today. If you want to work from home and do other jobs like I'm doing here, then we need internet. So that we'll, but if everything hits the fan and grid goes down, you can still survive. Definitely can survive. But if you want to do things like YouTube, if you want to work from home in other industries, you could do it. We don't need all the massive cities and transportation. We can do more and more of our work from home. And I think that's the opportunity that we may pick up from the adversity that we're facing today, an ability to work from home, because we're now getting more used to it. That actually is far more efficient than using buildings and all the overhead that's required to support those other buildings where we meet. I mean, you already got your home building that's already there. So why replicate your office space and put everybody together in a whole nother building, and all the expense associated with that? The company can save a lot of overhead by letting people work at home. And that also reduces you driving twice a day. It reduces the need on gas, further reduces your need on vehicle, your wear and tear on your vehicle. People might opt not own cars as much, or have cars they share, or use a ride share type of system. There's many other alternatives. We don't need so many automobiles. But if I believe if you want to keep any automobile, you can. You might go more to bicycles or bike-powered automobiles or electric automobiles. The Elon Musk vision, Tesla, or something smaller. But hey, I believe we should always be able to keep our old clunkers around just to toy with. And if we don't want to do anything other than toy them, don't tell me I can't drive a gas-powered vehicle. I don't think that is a real problem, as some people put it. But whatever the case is, my vision gives you the lowest impact on the environment vision that you're going to find anywhere. We can accommodate it and build an entire society around this philosophy that goes with the tribe, work from home, and this universal habitat. You'd have businesses also built in similar fashion, so they won't require as much energy. There will be other businesses, of course, and at the factory scale, that might be a bit much, but you can go on the roof of a factory, and why not use all that space? Why are we wasting so much space in our world? We could put power systems on the roofs of factories. You could put growing areas on the roof of factories and schools and other business areas. Also, though, we could do more learning at home. Why do we have to go someplace to go to school? Okay, we want some social meeting arrangements when things are better. But then again, the whole beauty of the tribe is you could have a group of people on the location, a small locality, and maybe you could have different cells of this that were different levels of interaction. So if you have to deal with diseases, you vet people in and out. When you got to go outside this group and come back in, maybe you live in a slightly different area and you're not interacting directly with the main group until you have cleared whatever criteria may be for whatever bug may or may not be going around at the time. So that's where tribes are very powerful in terms of being able to control epidemics. Epidemics may be with us as long as we have our civilization with 90% of the people living in mega cities or cities, and the mass transportation we have between these cities with the international air travel and shipping, cargo, it's all kind of opportunities for anything coming from everywhere to go everywhere fast, or accidental release of bad things that people are playing around with the labs that they shouldn't be doing. The prospects for bioerror and bioterror are two of the topics I cover in my video, A Nuke in Every Pot, based largely off Sir Martin Rees, the Astronomer Royal of Great Britain, so the United Kingdom. So there you have it. Greg Allison, Green Gregs, just took you to Mars. Galactic Greg. Didn't envision that when you logged on to this worm channel, did you? Yes, I am an engineer. Yes, I work space in the daytime. I am a space guy. So, but I also grow worms. I do organic gardening. I get my hands really dirty. I'm very much into the development of biology, biological systems, and science is my friend. So I want to thank everyone for joining, for watching. Like I said again, I got many more videos to come, a broad section of topics. So subscribe to my channels, Green Gregs and Galactic Gregs. Links below, and links below to the various sites that are basically through the Galactic Gregs channel, but I'm through Green Gregs. I'll put them on both channels that you can click support my channel for buying worms, for prepping supplies, prepwithgreg.com, which you really need to look at right now, and to grow your own good heirloom seeds for your garden or to grow microgreens inside, look at my links to True Leaf Market. Use my links below. That I get a little assistance from them for doing that. So I really appreciate you watching. Thank you all, and have a wonderful, wonderful day and future. Because I know it can be good. It can be bright. We just have to stick together. And for that, I'm also looking at starting tribes. Log on, email me if you're interested in that. Put tribe in the function and the email you need to send it to. I'll put that link below. HAL5, HAL, number 5, SPACE at AOL.com. I used to use that email for HAL5 functions. That's an organization. That's why Alabama HAL5 Society. But now I've reserved that email for these activities on it, just the tribe building for now. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.